controversial founding fathers. 1. Like many of today's celebrities, Alexander Hamilton probably lied about his age. The illegitimate son of a Scottish immigrant father and a British West Indian mother who happened to be married to someone else, Alexander Hamilton was born on the Caribbean island of Nevis on January 11. Hamilton himself claimed that he had been born in 1757, but official documents from Nevis list the year as 1755. Debate over this discrepancy has continued for more than 2 centuries, but most modern scholars agree that Hamilton likely changed his birth year intentionally. Shortly after Hamilton came into the world, his father James abandoned the family, fearful that the mother of his child would be charged with bigamy. In 1768, when Hamilton was likely 13 years old, his mother died, effectively leaving him an orphan. Shaving 2 years off his age would have made him a more desirable candidate for an apprenticeship to a local businessman. If this was Hamilton's intent, it worked. He was soon hired by an import-export firm and quickly impressed his bosses. In 1772, they decided to send Hamilton to the American colonies to further his education. Arriving in his new home at the self-declared age of 15 and quickly diving into the political arena, Hamilton kept up the ruse, and his perceived precociousness only enhanced his reputation as a political prodigy. Though he never attained the highest office of his adopted country, few of America's founders influenced its political system more than Alexander Hamilton. He was a member of the Continental Congress, an author of the Federalist Papers, a champion of the Constitution and the first Secretary of the Treasury. But there's so much more to Hamilton's legacy. While serving in the Treasury, Hamilton helped found the First National Bank, the U.S. Mint and the Revenue Cutter Service, a tax collection bureau that would later become the U.S. Coast Guard. So deeply involved in the development of the Cutter Service was Hamilton that the original naval communication guidebook he devised was still in use in 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis. A strong proponent of manufacturing in the new nation, Hamilton and a series of private investors created the Society for the Establishment of Useful Manufactures, which developed one of the first industrial centers in the United States, located in Paterson, New Jersey. In 1784, he founded the Bank of New York, America's oldest continuous banking organization. And just 7 years later, Hamilton started a daily broadsheet, then known as the New York Evening Post, that grew into one of the country's most successful papers, the New York Post. In 1791, the married Hamilton met a young Philadelphia woman named Maria Reynolds, who claimed she needed cash because her husband had left her with a small daughter to support. Himself an orphan, Hamilton quickly agreed, but their financial arrangement soon morphed into a trickier entanglement as the pair embarked on an affair that would last just over a year. Maria Reynolds was no desperate housewife, however. She and her husband, James, had carefully planned the affair in an attempt to extort even larger amounts from then Secretary Hamilton, who readily coughed up the sums. After James Reynolds was implicated in another financial scandal, he informed investigators, a group that included James Monroe and Frederick Muhlenberg, that Hamilton had been using government funds as hush money. When confronted with this, Hamilton admitted to the affair, but he also insisted that he had used his own personal funds to cover it up, even showing Monroe his love letters from Maria Reynolds as proof. Satisfied that this was a private matter, Monroe and Muhlenberg agreed not to expose Hamilton. However, Monroe gave the letters to his close friend Thomas Jefferson, one of Hamilton's fiercest political enemies. Jefferson passed them on to publisher James Callender, already notorious as the preeminent 19th-century peddler of political gossip. Read more.